Senhoras e senhores, autoridades presentes, solicitamos a todos que tomem assento na plateia e informamos que este evento está sendo transmitido pelo canal do YouTube na sala do CO.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour. Prenez place, s'il vous plaît. On va démarrer avec une transmission de l'événement sur un canal YouTube également.
Senhoras e senhores, autoridades presentes, vamos dar início a esta cerimônia.
Mesdames et messieurs, donc on va démarrer cette cérémonie. Donc merci beaucoup de prendre place.
A Universidade de São Paulo recebe a todos e todas para a cerimônia de assinatura do Protocolo de Intenções entre a Universidade de São Paulo e o Centre National de la Recherche Scientifique, para a criação de um Centro Internacional de Pesquisa CNRS USP.
L'Université de São Paulo est ravie de vous recevoir aujourd'hui pour cet événement de signature de la lettre d'intention de création d'un centre international entre le Centre national de la recherche scientifique français et l'Université de São Paulo.
Já estão posicionados na mesa as seguintes autoridades: o professor Dr. Carlos Gilberto Carlotti Júnior, magnífico reitor da Universidade de São Paulo, e o senhor Antoine Petit, presidente e CEO PDG CNRS.
Ont pris place donc devant vous les deux autorités de cette cérémonie aujourd'hui, le professeur Carlos Carlotti, recteur de l'Université de São Paulo, et Dr Antoine Petit, professeur Antoine Petit, président, directeur général du Centre national de la recherche scientifique.
Registramos a presença das seguintes autoridades: o senhor Yves Tessier-Derfel, cônsul-geral da França em São Paulo, professor Dr. Marco Antônio Zago, presidente da FAPESP e reitor da USP de 2014 a 2018, e o professor Dr. Fernando Menezes, diretor administrativo da FAPESP, e o senhor François Leguet, conselheiro para a cooperação cultural da Embaixada da França. Também gostaríamos de agradecer a presença de todos os dirigentes da universidade, da delegação francesa e também aos professores.
Donc nous recevons les personnalités dont vous avez entendu les noms et les fonctions, et nous sommes également ravis de recevoir l'ensemble des personnalités invitées pour cet événement, personnel de l'Université de São Paulo, entre autres.
Convidamos neste momento o professor Dr. Carlos Gilberto Carlotti Júnior, reitor da Universidade de São Paulo, para a sua apresentação.
Monsieur le recteur de l'Université de São Paulo est donc invité pour la présentation qu'il va faire de l'Université de São Paulo.
Bonjour, c'est avec grand plaisir et honneur que nous vous recevons à l'Université de São Paulo. Je voudrais saluer M. Antoine Petit, président du CNRS, et Alain Chou, directeur général, au nom de qui je salue les autres visiteurs français. M. Yves Tessier, consul de la France à São Paulo, M. Varango Pian, secrétaire de Sciences, Technologie et Innovation de l'État de São Paulo et ancien président de notre université, M. Marco Antônio Zago, président de la FAPESP et ancien président de notre université, et dans les personnes de Madame Maria Arminda do Nascimento Arruda, toutes les autorités universitaires ici présentes. Soyez toutes et tous bienvenus à l'USP pour encore une fois célébrer les liens d'amitié qui existe entre notre université et la France depuis notre fondation. L'État de São Paulo occupe 3% de la surface du Brasil. Et ici habitent 45 millions de personnes, 22% de notre population. Nous sommes o motor économique de la nation, produisant 32% do produit intérieur brut du pays. Notre université comprend 8 campus, localisés dans les villes de São Paulo, São Carlos, Ribeirão Preto, Piracicaba, Pirassununga, Bauru, Santos e Lorena. Vous voyez ici des images des campus de la capitale, de São Carlos, de Ribeirão Preto e de Piracicaba. La Université de São Paulo a été fondée en 1934, ressemblant des écoles déjà existantes et sous forte influence des savants et académiciens français. Nous avons actuellement 48 unités d'enseignement et recherche, 4 hôpitaux, 4 musées, 72 bibliothèques, dans 5 digitales. Nous sommes une très grande université, avec plusieurs chiffres qui impressionnent. Nous avons presque 100 000 étudiants, dont un tiers engageant à les études en 3e cycle et au-delà. 85% de notre professeurs travaillent exclusivement à l'université. La quasi-totalité de nos professeurs possèdent le titre de docteur. Nous sommes très bien classés au ranking international universitaire, comme le QS World University Ranking. Position 61 en médecine, 68e en arte et humanité, 74e en sciences sociales et administration, 77e en sciences naturelles, et 86e en ingénierie et technologie. Notre production intellectuelle croît depuis 2015, même si le pays a subi des crises économiques et politiques pendant le période. En 2013, nos publications reçoivent des citations au-dessous de la moyenne internationale. Notre université seule représente 18% de la production académique nationale. Le registre des brevets a également augmenté ces dernières années. La France est l'un des pays avec lesquels nous avons plus de collaboration. Entre 2012 et 2021, nous avons collaboré avec 350 institutions françaises et publié plus de 7000 travaux scientifiques. Compte tenu de la production conjointe entre la France et la USP, la plupart des publications sont dans les domaines de la physique et astronomie, médecine, sciences de la terre et des plantes, en biochimie, génétique et biologie moléculaire. En ingénierie, nous avons plusieurs d'accords entre l'USP et CNRS, entre l'USP et Cofecub. La collaboration entre l'USP et le CNRS se montre clairement bénéfique aux deux parties. L'importance des publications en partenariat est nettement plus grande si celle des parties seules. Nos intérêts commencent cet allaitement sous plusieurs domaines de connaissances. L'affect de grandes collaborations internationales, notamment au CERN et au Grand Telescope, é evidente em física e astronomia. De intensa colaboração, existe sur plusieurs sujets d'investigation. Je voudrais vous montrer quelques exemples de nos collaborations. Très récemment, nous avons une expédition en Amazonie profonde, avec importantes collaborations françaises. M. Antoine Fouquet, do CNRS, e M. Miguel Truffaut, de l'USP. Le Brasil a une longue histoire de collaboration avec la France. Depuis les années 1980, en optique et physique atomique, notre professeur Vanderlei Banhato collabore avec, entre autres, M. Alain Aspect, prix Nobel de physique l'année dernière. Em ce moment même, nous avons présenté une proposition de création d'un laboratoire international du CNRS à l'USP. Nous voyons l'avenir de nos collaborations avec beaucoup d'espoir et nous sommes déterminés à poursuivre de grands défis avec nos amis français. La maturité de la collaboration entre le CNRS et l'USP nous permet de rechercher des formes de collaboration plus intenses et permanentes, pour mieux servir la société brésilienne et française. Après avoir tenu des réunions de travail entre nos scientifiques, nous espérons d'ici fin de 2023 parvenir a um acordo sobre um centro CNRS au Brasil, dans l'État de São Paulo et la USP. Je remercie la direction du CNRS, Madame Nadege, Consul Ives, et le professeur Fernando Menezes e Edmilson pour leur collaboration afin de nous puissions parvenir cet accord. Je souhaite donner au président Petit la clé de l'espace qui accueillera les rencontres de chercheurs de l'USP et du CNRS qui se situent à côté de l'administration de l'Université de São Paulo. C'est très joli. Je vous remercie de votre attention. Merci beaucoup.
Convidamos agora o Dr. Antoine Petit, presidente e CEO do CNRS.
Nous invitons à présent notre président, Antoine Petit, président directeur général du CNRS, pour la présentation du CNRS.
Mr. Director, dear Professor Carlotti, dear Professor Zago, Monsieur le Consul, dear colleagues, it's really a pleasure to be there. But first of all, I would like to apologize. I am absolutely unable to say one word in Brazilian, in Portuguese. So I am a bit jealous on the ability of Professor Carlotti to be able to make a speech in French. Congratulations. Thank you very much. But I have to stay in English. Sorry for that. It's really a pleasure to be there. Thank you very much to welcome us. Your presentation about USP was really convincing, and it shows clearly why we should go further and why we should develop our cooperations. Let me introduce CNRS, even if I was very impressed by the fact that several of you speak a perfect French, and I'm sure that you know CNRS, but probably to remind you some figure and some aspect of the history of CNRS. As we say, our raison d'être is precisely what is written there, basic research for the benefit of society. And it was true from the very beginning. In fact, CNRS has been created in 1939, so we are a bit younger than you, so we owe you respect, of course. What is interesting is that CNRS has been created on the 19th of October 1939. So it means several weeks after the declaration of war by France to Germany. And so you can say, okay, they just declare war. Do really they need science at this moment? And the answer was yes. So from the very beginning, CNRS has been built in the idea to produce science, to produce knowledge, but for the benefit of society. And our two fathers, or two extraordinary men, Jean Perrin, who was Nobel Prize of Physics in 1926, but also Jean Zay, who is Minister of the Education. And Jean Zay created the CNRS, which is already not so bad, but he is also the father of Palais de la Découverte, which is a big museum in France, but also he's the father of Festival de Cannes for movie. Okay, not too bad. Unfortunately, Jean Zay was murdered by the Vichy milice in 1944. So now, and at the very beginning, CNRS, it was only 40 labs and something like 1,000 staff. Right now, we are a bit bigger. So we have 32,000 employees. Among them, something like 28, we can say, scientists. So researchers, engineers, and technicians. And among these 28,000, about 12,000 are full researchers. Our budget is something like 4 billion euro for 2023. 3/4 of it comes directly from the state. We are a public research organization, and the last 25% comes from money from either European Commission or French National Agency of Research or industrial partners. We have more than 1,000 labs in France. And one particularity of the French system is that all these labs are in fact joint labs between CNRS and French universities. So the French system is really intricate. All our labs now are, as I said, joint labs, some kind of joint ventures in which you will find people paid by CNRS, but also people by university or people paid by grandes écoles. And if you visit a lab, you will be absolutely unable, if you meet somebody, to know who pays him. We are organized from a scientific point of view in 10 divisions. 10, we call in France instituts, but probably the translation of division is more appropriate. And you have the list of the 10 divisions here, and you can see that we cover really all fields of science, going from mathematics to humanities and social sciences, through information sciences, engineering, chemistry, physics. For historical reasons, nuclear and particle physics is separated from physics. We cover also earth science and astronomy, ecology and environment, and biological sciences. But of course, all these divisions are not of the same size. So we also, even if we do fundamental research, we work a lot with industrial partners. So we have more than 240 joint research structures with industrial partners, in which we still do basic research, but basic research on programs, on roadmaps, which have been co-defined with our partners. We create also every year between 80 and 100 startups. And we are quite proud to be the first patent, we are the first institutions which co-deposit patents with industry. And concerning the publications, about 2/3 are international publications, I mean co-authored by international institutions. And we pay also a lot of attention to open sciences, and now something like 94% of the publications of the CNRS employees are in open archive. So as I said, we are organized in 10 scientific divisions. We have 3 deputy CEO. Alain, who's there, is deputy CEO for science, Alain Schul. We have also a deputy CEO for resources, Christophe Coudroy. And I created in 2019 a third position of deputy CEO for innovation, Jean-Luc Moulet, just to illustrate the fact that we pay a lot of attention to these relations with industrial partners. So, just because it's always good to speak of science, just 2 recent scientific advances worldwide known in which our teams have participated. Of course, the discovery of the Higgs boson in 2012, doing at the CERN near Geneva and Grenoble. Activities around 3D printing of tissues and organs with a lot of cooperations between life sciences and computing and engineering sciences. Relation related to Pandora virus, but also something which visited Brazil several times, the Tara expedition, which discovers unknown branches of life in the oceans. The gravitational waves, with the confirmation of the theory, confirmation of the existence of gravitational waves. Our teams participated also to the first image that you necessarily saw of the black holes. We had a special scientific chantier around Notre Dame. You know that we have a big fire in Notre Dame, and we started in fact a scientific investigation at Notre Dame and concerning acoustic, material, but also climate. And we were first actor in that. And we are quite proud to have the Jean Zay computer. So we give to this supercomputer the name of one of our father, which is the most powerful supercomputer in Europe related to high-performance computing and AI. Of course, as you can imagine, we had a lot of activities around COVID, but in particular around mathematics for COVID, through the initiative ModCob. And the last example, we participate to the new tool, which is now on the March soil, with the SuperCam, a scientific instrument which is something made in France. So, as I said, our raison d'être is basic research for the benefit of the society. And what does it mean to do basic research? Mainly, and probably the first thing to do, as we all know, is to recruit and form talents. Science is done by men and women, and probably our first objective every year is to recruit people. We try to recruit them worldwidely. Due to the status of CNRS, we can have researchers from any nationality. Even if our permanent researchers have a civil servant position, we can have researchers from any nationality. So we have Brazil people who are, of course, CNRS researchers with a French civil servant position. That's not an issue. You can imagine that right now there are some countries for which it can be more problematic. I will not cite any of them, of course. Even if we have a lot of labs, we have, of course, a certain number. I will not come in detail of priorities. As I said already, we want to promote open science. We, of course, pay attention to questions of integrity and deontology. And we play also a particular role in the French landscape concerning research infrastructures. We are in charge of about 90% of the national research infrastructures in France, covering all fields of sciences. These priorities, I will not enter in details. What I just would like to mention is the fact that, so you understood that CNRS is huge. What we try to do, and it's probably the main job of Alain, is to try to not have 10 divisions working in silo. And so really push them to cooperate. And even our scientific priorities are not presented through the 10 institutes, but through general topics, 6 general topics that you have listed here. When we say that we try to do, or we want to do basic research for the benefit of the society, we defined or identified 3 main targets inside society, if I may: global social challenges, economic world, and also support for decision-making and understanding. Concerning global challenges, we have identified 6 main global challenges. They will not be surprised for you, otherwise it will not be global social challenges. And our main point is that science is needed to treat them, to understand them, to try to find solutions. But science is needed with cooperations between various disciplines, including, of course, humanities and social sciences. And of course, these 6 main social challenges take all their place in the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And in this framework, we are strongly involved in the IPBS and IPCC consortia. Second target, the economical world. I already said a word about our joint research structures with companies, about our startup. And the main idea is really to increase the flow of knowledge transfer between the CNRS and the companies. And we are helped for that by a subsidiary called CNRS Innovation. And we are particularly proud of what we call our pre-maturation program. The idea is to go from TRL 0 to TRL 3, which is in some sense empty hall right now. And we found every year now something like 100 such operations. One operation is something like 100 to 150k euros. And the idea is really to have proof of concept, and it's really helpful to transfer results of research to industry. And among the companies with whom we work a lot, you find some companies that you probably already know. We mentioned already this morning in our discussions with perhaps Total Energy, but we have also Stellantis and several others. Some of them are listed here. Third target, in the society, it's to support to understanding and decision making. I think that we all face the same crisis, COVID crisis, and this crisis illustrates the importance of science to help for decision and understanding. From our point of view, it's important that scientists do not pretend to decide. That's not our work, but we have to bring knowledge to politicians, to decision makers, and to bring knowledge, of course, to citizens, and it's something that we do very, very deeply. And for that, we have 3 assets, 3 levels. I will go fast on that. First of one, as I said already, it's a unique potential of interdisciplinarity. You have seen that we cover all fields of sciences, and all the challenges, either the social challenges, but also the big industrial problems, need cooperations between sciences, and it's precisely what we try to do. We have also, I explained very briefly to you, the French system, an exceptional network of academic partners. And last but not least, we have a remarkable set of international cooperations. So we are present in 38 countries, We have 10 offices all over the world, one in Brazil. For historical reasons, it is located in Rio and not in Sao Paulo, but nevertheless, it's in Brazil, and it covers in charge of all the South America. We have, I spoke of the French research infrastructure. We are also a member of 88 international research infrastructure. We have some, even if we do not deliver PhD, we have joint PhD programs with foreign universities. And we have a series of tools, I will come back on that, international research, international labs, international projects, network, and also international center. I will come back on that. Last point, I would like to mention the fact that we are the first beneficiary of the European 2020 framework program. We obtained from this program something like 1.2 billion euros. And number 2 is CEA in France with about 700 million euros. And number 3 is Fraunhofer, and number 4 is Max Planck. But clearly, it's in particular clearly due to our size, clearly, but not only. For instance, we are quite proud to be the first beneficiary of the ERC grants, European Research Council grants. More than half of the ERC grantees who work in France are CNRS employees, and we represent much less than 50% of the forces, scientific forces in France. And last point I would like to mention, we launched 18 months ago a plan for Africa. We want to develop our relations. If I say Africa, it's too general with countries of Africa, because it's not the same to work with Kenya than with South Africa or Morocco, but it's something we really want to develop. And as I said, we have something like 80 international research labs. Here you have a picture, so you see that these labs are all over the world. I said already that we have 10 representation offices, 4 in Asia, 1 in Japan, which covers also Taiwan and South Korea, 1 in China, 1 in India, 1 in Singapore, 1 in Australia, which covers also New Zealand, 1 in US, which covers also Mexico, 1 in Canada, 1 in Brussels for relations with the European Commission, 1 in South Africa, which is in charge of all Africa, but we will open the 11th one soon in Kenya. And last but not least, we have 1 in Brazil, which covers all relations with South America. And clearly, there are 3 main countries for us in South America. It will not be a surprise for you. It's first, clearly Brazil, and then Chile and Argentina. Which does not mean that we do not have any cooperations with others, but clearly it's these 3 countries are main partners in South America. Last point I would like to mention is, I said already that we have 250 joint structures with French companies, and we have 4 of them outside France with Solvay, which, to be frank, is not really French, but Belgium, but it's okay. In China, with Thales in Singapore, with Saint-Gobain in Japan, and with Naval Group in Australia. And we discussed this morning the opportunity to have such structures here in Brazil, either with French company or with a Brazilian company, or why not with 2 of them? It's really an open question. Last point about international key figures. We recruit every year about 1/3 of our new permanent researchers outside France. And you have some figures here that I already mentioned. To come to CNRS Brazil co-publication, I have also some figures. I do not have, you don't have anymore the figures proposed by Professor Carlotti, so I hope they are not too different, and they are not. And clearly, these figures shows clearly the importance of USP in the relations between CNRS and Brazil institutions, since the number of articles you see is more or less a double of the number 2 in this ranking. So clearly, USP is our first academic partner in Brazil from far. Conversely, I hope it is true, we are proud to be the first partner of University of USP. You see that the number between CNRS and Harvard are not very different. and it's not so important to know whether we are number 1 or 2, but clearly we are proud and happy to be also one important partner, I will say, for USP. We cover a lot of different fields, and that's important for the future. Our collaborations are not limited to one area. You see the number of subjects which have been done given to joint publication in very various fields of science. Now, if I look to CNRS tools, we have a lot of tools at the international for developing international cooperations. We have networks, we have projects, we have laboratories, and we launched a new tool recently. Recently, it's two years ago. What's that we call international research centers. And these centers, we have very few of them, and we do not plan to have a lot of them. So until now, I don't remember if I have one slide like that. Until now, we have one with University of Arizona, one with University of Tokyo in Japan, one with Imperial College in London, and one with University of Chicago. Clearly, these centers are a sign of a strong will, a strong wish of the two institutions, the Florence University and the CNRS, to develop cooperations. And clearly, it's an opportunity that we are very happy to develop with USP. It's clearly a sign of a long-term investment. You have to see such a center like as an umbrella under which different cooperations can be developed. And Professor Zagos this morning make us the pleasure to explain that FASP will be happy to support this center, and that's a very good news. So thank you very much. I know that we will have also the support of the French Embassy and the French Consulate, and thanks to them also. I know also that this center can be the occasions to have in the loop some French partners, which can be either the Agence Nationale de la Recherche, but also French universities. And that's, from my point of view, very, very challenging and very stimulating. One word perhaps about, I come back to science, what we do with USP. We have several collaborations, as I already mentioned, and I will not enter in details, but you see that it covers human sciences with subject around linguistics, immune response in biological sciences, South Atlantic circulations concerning earth science and astronomy, but also problem of archives and images for human sciences, and so on. Just to illustrate the fact, as I said, that we had a lot of cooperations, and it gives us a lot of opportunities to develop cooperation. This slide is very interesting, but okay. It's covered all fields of science. So, as I said, until now we did not have any international labs, any international center. It's a pity, but it's not a drama, because in fact we started by the main importance is to do science. Because we can decide to have a center if we have nothing to put inside, that we'll be happy perhaps to see in the MOU, but it will be useless. In some sense, we do the thing the right way. So we started by science, we started by cooperations, we started by joint articles, and now I think we are ready to construct tools which will help to develop, to strengthen these cooperations. And we have several opportunities to develop our cooperations. I will go fast. So we have a project to create an international lab in human and social sciences. We have also very already already almost achieved project to develop an international lab on immunology. And I don't know whether it should be in January 24 or if we have to accelerate in order to profit of the possible visit of President Macron in Brazil. I think it can be a challenge for us to sign this center in his presence. I think it could be, we have to discuss, of course, but it could be also a good opportunity to put light on these cooperations and to insist at the highest political level of the importance of cooperations between USP and CNRS, and so more generally between France and Brazil. So that's all. Sorry, a bit long. Thank you very much for your attention. And you have understand that if we come here in Brazil with quite a big delegation, it's clearly the sign that we will, or more than happy to the idea to develop our cooperation with USP. And I will be very happy to sign this letter of intention with President Carlotti. And I think that we should have as objective, as I said, to transform this letter of intention in reality. But as I said, science is already there, so it should be not so complicated. Thank you very much to welcome us and for the quality of our exchanges. Thank you very much.
Anunciamos neste momento a assinatura do Protocolo de Intenções entre a Universidade de São Paulo e o CNRS para a criação de um Centro Internacional de Pesquisa.
Nous avançons donc dans notre cérémonie avec la signature de la lettre d'intention de la création du Centre international de recherche entre l'Université de São Paulo et le Centre national de recherche scientifique.
Assinam o documento o professor Dr. Carlos Gilberto Carlotti Júnior, magnífico reitor da Universidade de São Paulo, e o Dr. Antoine Petit, presidente do CNRS.
La lettre d'intention est donc signée par le recteur de l'Université de São Paulo, le professeur Carlotti, et le président directeur général du CNRS, professeur Antoine Petit.
Present to celebrate our cooperation.
Thank you very much. I have some gifts for you.
Okay.
Ouviremos agora as palavras do Dr. Antoine Petit, presidente do CNRS, sobre o convênio.
Et maintenant, les derniers mots après la signature de la lettre d'intention. Donc, on va commencer cette fois-ci dans l'ordre inverse. On va inviter notre président, directeur général du CNRS, à s'exprimer suite à la signature de la lettre.
Thank you very much. I will not be long because I think that I said already what I wanted to say, more or less. So I'm very happy that we have signed this letter. It's clearly the first point of a process, of the successful process. The idea is just to have signed a letter. We are, I'm sure, happy to have signed a letter. But now what is important is the content of this. And clearly it means that it's your task, it's the task of our researchers to put materials in this. We do not have any miracle recipe for that. Clearly, as I said already, science is done by men and women, but we have already a lot of cooperation, so we have to let know our researchers on both sides that we are ready to develop our cooperations, that we will help them to develop these cooperations. Very important, I think, it's also to have young researchers in the loop. It's important that young Brazilian researchers come to France. It's important for France to send young French researchers here in Brazil. And works remain to be done, but I am sure once again that through the existing cooperations we have a very good starting point. We discussed this morning of possible cooperation with FAPEPS, including Amazonia, including ocean, including biodiversity, just to give you some subject that I didn't mention already. So clearly we have a huge number of possible subjects of cooperation, so we will have to make choice, perhaps, it's good. Since the idea is to put this cooperation in a long-term perspective, it means that probably in 5 years the subject of cooperation will not be the same than the one today, but that's good, that's just a sign that science evolves, and probably it will be good to plan some kind of workshop to push our researchers to propose joint cooperations. But I'm sure that all the ingredients are there to make a success and to transform, as I said, this letter of intention in reality. And I would be happy if we try to have the challenge to be ready for the visit of the president, which is not an easy challenge because we don't know when he will come. So we have a deadline, but not a precise deadline. But nevertheless, I'm sure that our two institutions are strong enough to face this challenge. Thank you very much.
Anunciamos neste momento as palavras do professor Dr. Carlos Gilberto Carlotti Júnior, magnífico reitor da Universidade de São Paulo.
Nous invitons donc maintenant le recteur Carlos Carlotti Jr. pour le discours après la signature de la lettre d'intention.
I will speak in English because I guess you are shocked with my French accent. So, well, it's a great opportunity for the University of São Paulo to work with CNRS. It's a great opportunity for the new researchers to work with a high standard level of science in the world. We know that CNRS it's a big shot in the science, so we can. It's very good for our young researchers to know this French word of science, and I believe that all units of the University of São Paulo will have a lot of interest in this agreement. I see here Professor Reinaldo from our Polytechnic or Engineering School, the Medicine School, all the school of São Paulo University will be very interested in this partnership. And I would like to know if Professor Zago would like to say some words to support this initiative, because he has the money. He has a lot of money, so should be... just a few words, Zago, to know your view of this agreement and how FAPESP could support us.
Well, I just repeat what I said this morning when President Antoine Petit visited the FAPESP. We will support all the good research that I'm sure will come from this initiative. And I wish to compliment both President Petit and President Carlotti for this initiative. We live in a global world. Our decisions are more and more taken globally. So, more and more this kind of interaction of joint research will define the future of science and the future of the world. So my compliments. University of São Paulo took a very important step, and I compliment also CNRS. Thank you.
I hope until the end of March we have a plan for our workshops to put together our research in some meetings in Brazil. You have a place here to have the meetings, some meetings in France, so we can define our schedule to have until January 24 the assignment of the big agreement to have a center of CNRS in Brazil. So thank you very much. President Petit, thank you very much for your support to this initiative, the Consulate of São Paulo, FAPESP, and our professor also. I'm very confident we have a good relationship based on this agreement. Thank you very much.
Anunciamos neste momento o término desta cerimônia de assinatura. A Universidade de São Paulo agradece a presença de todos e todas e deseja um ótimo dia.
Donc avec tout ceci, on ferme la cérémonie, on remercie tout le monde pour la participation à cet événement et on vous souhaite une très belle journée.